Jasmine Brooks was just a maid who spent 8 months cleaning the mansion of Kang Min-ho, a powerful Korean Mafia boss. She was invisible to him, until the night she got drunk and texted him 2 words, "Come get me." He showed up at her apartment in 15 minutes, and nothing was ever the same. The text was already sent before Jasmine's brain caught up to what her hands had done. She stared at her phone screen, the room spinning slightly from the wine, and watched the message status change from delivered to read. "Come get me." Sent to Kang Min-ho, her employer, the man whose sprawling Potomac mansion she cleaned 5 days a week, the man who barely looked at her when he gave instructions in that deep, accented voice that made her stomach flip, the man she'd spent 8 months crushing on while scrubbing his floors and changing his sheets and pretending she didn't notice how devastatingly handsome he was. "Oh my God." Jasmine's hand flew to her mouth. "Oh my God, I actually sent it." Her best friend Keisha was doubled over laughing, wine sloshing in her glass. "Yes, I cannot believe you actually did it. Girl, I was joking when I dared you. This isn't funny." Jasmine grabbed for her phone, but Keisha danced away. "I just texted my boss, my Korean Mafia boss employer, to come get me. What does that even mean? He's going to think I'm insane. He's going to think you're interested, which you are." Keisha was still laughing. "You've been mooning over this man for months." "Keisha, he smiled at me today when I brought him coffee." "Keisha, he said thank you and looked right at me." "Girl, it's pathetic. You needed to do something." Jasmine felt like she might throw up. She'd been working for Min-ho for 8 months, and in those 8 months, she'd perfected the art of being invisible. She arrived at his mansion at 6 a.m. before he woke up, cleaned every room with meticulous care, and left by 2 p.m. before he returned from whatever mysterious business kept him out most days. The few times they'd crossed paths, she'd kept her eyes down, answered in quiet yeses and nos, and tried not to stare at him like some lovesick teenager. Because Kang Min-ho was not the kind of man you stared at. He was Korean, probably mid-30s, with sharp aristocratic features and dark eyes that seemed to see straight through people. He moved through his mansion like he owned the world, which, according to whispered conversations between his security team, he basically did. There were rumors, connections to Korean organized crime, businesses that operated in shadows, money that came from places people didn't ask about. And Jasmine? Jasmine was his maid, invisible, forgettable, just another person who took care of his home while he built his empire. Except tonight, drunk on cheap wine and Keisha's dares, she'd sent him a text that shattered every professional boundary she'd ever maintained. Her phone buzzed. Jasmine's heart stopped. It was from Kang Min-ho. Just a word. "Address?" He responded, Jasmine whispered, staring at the screen in horror. "Keisha, he actually responded." Keisha snatched the phone to look. "He's asking for your address. He's actually coming." No, 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 no." Jasmine grabbed the phone back. "This is bad. This is so bad. I need to tell him I made a mistake. I need to—" The phone buzzed again. From Kang Min-ho. "Jasmine, your address. Now." There was something commanding in those 4 words, something that made her fingers move before her brain could object. She typed out her Columbia Heights address and hit send. Kang Min-ho replied back. 15 minutes. Don't move. Jasmine dropped onto the couch, her whole body shaking. He's coming. Kang Min-ho is coming to my apartment. In 15 minutes. Because I drunkenly texted him like some kind of... What was I thinking? You were thinking you're tired of hiding, Keisha said, suddenly serious. She sat beside Jasmine and took her hands. Look, I know you. You've built your whole life around being invisible. You clean houses, you keep your head down, you never cause problems. But with this man, you light up every time you talk about him. You deserve to know if that could be something real. He's my employer, Keisha. And not just any employer. He's a literal crime boss. I clean his house. That's all I am to him. Then why is he driving to your apartment at midnight on a Friday? Keisha squeezed her hands. Maybe you're not as invisible as you think. The knock came exactly 15 minutes later. 3 sharp, authoritative knocks that made Jasmine's breath catch. Keisha grabbed her purse and coat. I'm leaving. Text me everything. And girl? She grinned. Have fun. Then she was gone, slipping out the door past whoever was on the other side, leaving Jasmine alone to face the consequences of her drunk text. Jasmine walked to the door on trembling legs, smoothed down her old Howard University sweatshirt, ran a hand over her natural hair that was pulled back in a messy bun. She was in leggings and fuzzy socks, and she smelled like wine, and she was about to open the door to her employer, who'd never seen her as anything but the maid. She opened the door. Kang Min-ho stood in her hallway, and Jasmine forgot how to breathe. He was even more devastating up close than he was in his mansion. Sharp cheekbones, strong jaw covered in dark stubble, dark eyes that locked onto her face with an intensity that made her knees weak. He wore all black, black jeans, black t-shirt, black leather jacket, and he looked dangerous in a way his usual expensive suits never quite captured. Jasmine. Her name, in his deep, Korean-accented voice, did things to her insides. Are you all right? Was she all right? Absolutely not. I'm fine. I was drinking and the words tumbled out. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have texted you. I don't know what I was thinking. I'll see you Monday and we can pretend this never happened. Why did you text me? Min-ho cut through her rambling. Why me specifically? All she wanted to scream out loud was, because I think about you every night, because I dream about you, because working in your home is torture when all I want is for you to really see me. I don't know, Jasmine whispered. Yes, you do. Min-ho stepped closer. He was so tall, at least 6'3", that she had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. You've worked for me for 8 months. You're always quiet, professional. You never look at me for more than a second. But tonight you texted me to come get you. Why? Jasmine's back hit the doorframe. It was a mistake. Was it? His dark eyes searched her face. Or did you finally stop hiding what you've been feeling? Jasmine's breath caught. What? You think I don't notice you? Min-ho's voice dropped lower. You think I don't see the way you blush when I say good morning? The way you avoid my eyes? The way you hold your breath when I walk past you? I'm your maid. I'm supposed to be professional. You are professional. Too professional. Like you're afraid of me. He took another step closer, close enough that she could smell his cologne, something expensive and masculine that made her dizzy. Are you afraid of me, Jasmine? Yes, she admitted, but not for the reasons you think. Then tell me, what are you afraid of? I'm afraid of this, Jasmine said, her voice shaking. Of wanting something I can't have, of being stupid enough to think that you could ever see me as anything more than the woman who cleans your house. Min-ho's expression shifted. Something heated and possessive crossed his face. Can I come in? This was insane. Letting her employer, her Mafia boss employer, into her tiny apartment while she was drunk and wearing sweatpants. Yes, Jasmine heard herself say. Min-ho walked in, and his presence made her small apartment feel even smaller. His eyes took in everything. The second-hand furniture, the books stacked on every surface, the framed art prints on the walls, seeing where she lived, seeing her. He turned to face her, and Jasmine realized she'd backed herself against the wall. I need you to understand something, Min-ho said, moving closer. "I've noticed you from the first day you started working for me. The way you hum when you think no one's listening. The way you rearrange my books by color, even though I've never asked you to. The way you leave my coffee exactly how I like it, even though I've never told you my preferences. You noticed those things? I notice everything about you." Minho's hand came up to the wall beside her head, not touching her, but close enough that she felt caged by him in the best possible way. "But you work for me. There are lines I shouldn't cross, so I kept my distance, tried to be professional, tried to ignore how much I wanted to know what you were thinking every time you looked away from me." Jasmine's heart was pounding so hard she could barely hear him, over the sound of it. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you texted me to come get you. Because for the first time in 8 months, you reached out to me." His free hand lifted, his fingers gentle as they touched her chin, tilting her face up to meet his eyes. "So I'm here, and I need to know. Was it just the wine? Or did you mean it?" Jasmine looked into his dark eyes and saw something she'd never expected to see. Want. Barely controlled and directed entirely at her. "I meant it," she whispered. "I've wanted to text you 100 times, wanted to do something, anything, to make you really see me. But I was too scared. And now? Now, I'm still scared. But I did it anyway." Minho's thumb brushed across her lower lip, and Jasmine's breath hitched. "Do you know what I wanted to do every time I walked past you in my house?" "What?" "This." He kissed her. Minho's mouth on hers was everything Jasmine had imagined, and nothing like it at the same time. His lips were firm and demanding, his hand cupping her face with a possessiveness that made her melt. His other hand found her waist, pulling her against him until there was no space between them. Jasmine gasped, and Minho deepened the kiss, his tongue sliding against hers with a skill that made her knees go weak. She grabbed his jacket for balance, her fingers clutching the leather as he kissed her like he'd been starving for this. When he pulled back, they were both breathing hard. "You're drunk," Minho said, his voice rough. His thumb stroked her cheekbone. "We need to talk about this when you're sober." "I'm not that drunk." "Sober, Jasmine." His expression was firm. "Monday. We'll talk Monday. But I need you to know something first." "What?" "I'm not just your employer. I'm not a simple businessman." Minho's eyes held hers. "The rumors you've probably heard? They're true. I have connections to Korean organizations that operate outside the law. I deal in things that could put you at risk. If we cross this line, you need to understand what you're stepping into." Jasmine's mouth went dry. She'd suspected, but hearing him confirm it was different. "Are you trying to scare me away?" "I'm trying to be honest with you. You deserve to know what choosing me means." His hand was still on her face, gentle despite the weight of his words. "Think about it this weekend. Really think about it. And Monday, we'll talk. Sober. About what you want and what I can offer you." "What if I already know what I want?" Minho's jaw tightened. "Monday. I need you to be sure." He stepped back, putting distance between them, and Jasmine immediately missed his warmth. "Lock this door behind me," Minho said. He pulled out his phone. "What's your number?" Jasmine gave it to him with shaking hands. A second later, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Unknown number. "It's Minho. If you need anything this weekend, anything, you text me, understand?" "Okay," Jasmine whispered. Minho looked at her for a long moment, something intense and unreadable in his dark eyes. Then he turned and left. Jasmine locked the door behind him, slid down to the floor, and touched her still tingling lips. The weekend was torture. Jasmine replayed the kiss approximately 1,000 times, stared at Minho's number in her phone, typed and deleted messages over and over. Saturday afternoon, she was cleaning her own apartment, a nervous habit, when her phone buzzed. From Minho. Have you eaten today? Jasmine stared at the text. He was checking on her. Not yet. Been cleaning? You clean even on your days off? It helps me think. What are you thinking about? Jasmine's fingers hovered over the keyboard. The truth sat heavy on her tongue. You. I'm thinking about you. The response came immediately. Good. I haven't stopped thinking about you since I left your apartment. About kissing you. About how you felt in my arms. Jasmine's face burned. This was not how her employer had ever texted her before. Mr. Kang. Minho. Just Minho. No more formalities between us. Not after Friday night. Minho. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done anything like this before. Neither have I. I don't usually cross lines with people who work for me. But you're different, Jasmine. You've always been different. How? You see my house, not my money. You hum old soul songs while you work. You leave little notes when you rearrange things. Moved your glasses to the nightstand so you don't step on them. You care. About everything. That's rare in my world. Jasmine felt tears prick her eyes. He'd noticed all of that. All the small things she did without thinking anyone saw. I was just doing my job. No, you were taking care of me. There's a difference, and I've spent 8 months wanting to take care of you back. I'm scared of what Monday means. Me too. But I'm more scared of not finding out if this is real. Are you? Jasmine looked at the text for a long moment. Then she typed, No. I want to know too. Then we'll figure it out together. One step at a time. I promise. Monday morning, Jasmine arrived at the mansion at her usual 6 a.m. She'd barely slept, had changed her outfit 3 times before settling on her normal work clothes, simple black pants and a white blouse, had practiced what she'd say 100 times in the mirror. But when she walked into the mansion and smelled Minho's coffee already brewing, her heart started racing all over again. Jasmine was cleaning the living room when she heard footsteps behind her. Jasmine. She turned to find Minho standing in the doorway, looking devastating in charcoal dress pants and a white button-down with the sleeves rolled up to his forearms. He must have just showered. His hair was still slightly damp. Mr. Kang, she said, defaulting to professional even though her heart was racing. Something flashed in his eyes. Come to my office, please. Jasmine followed him through the mansion to his home office, a room she usually cleaned but had never been in while he occupied it. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a massive desk, windows overlooking the estate. Minho closed the door behind them. Did you think about what I said? He asked. I thought about nothing else all weekend. And? Jasmine met his eyes. I want to know more about your world, about what being with you would really mean. Because she took a breath. I want to try this, whatever this is. But I need honesty. Minho's expression softened. Sit. He gestured to the leather couch against the wall. Jasmine sat, and Minho sat beside her, close but not touching. My family has ties to Korean organized crime, he said without preamble. I run legitimate businesses, real estate, investments, import, export. But I also broker deals that happen in shadows. I have protection from people who ensure my operations run smoothly, and I exist in a world where violence is always a possibility. Jasmine's hands twisted in her lap. Have you hurt people? Yes. No hesitation. To protect my family, to protect my interests. I won't lie to you, Jasmine. I've done things that would horrify you. But I don't hurt innocent people. And if you're with me, I will protect you with everything I have. Why are you telling me all this? Why not just hide it? Because I want something real with you. And real means honest. Minho turned to face her fully. If we do this, you need to know what you're choosing. There will be risks. People who might use you to get to me. Situations that could be dangerous. I can't promise you safety from my world. But I can promise I'll do everything in my power to keep you safe. Jasmine studied his face, saw the weight he carried, the honesty in his eyes. What would this look like? Us? You'd still work here if you wanted to. Or I'd help you find something else if that feels too complicated. We'd be careful at first. See if what we feel is real or just attraction. But Jasmine, his hand found hers. I need you to understand. I don't do casual. If we start this, I'm all in. Completely. Are you ready for that? Jasmine looked at their joined hands. His was so much larger than hers. Calloused despite his wealth. Strong. I'm scared, she admitted. Terrified, actually. But I'm also tired of hiding. Tired of pretending I don't feel what I feel. What do you feel? Like you're dangerous and I should run. But also like I've been waiting for you to really see me for 8 months. And now that you do, I don't want to walk away. Minho's smile was devastating. Then don't walk away. Stay. Let me take you to dinner tonight. Let me show you who I am outside of this house. And we'll figure out if this is real. Dinner was at a Korean restaurant in Georgetown that looked small and unassuming from the outside, but was clearly exclusive. The owner greeted Minho in Korean with deep bows that suggested respect and fear in equal measure. They sat in a private room with low tables and cushioned seating, traditional Korean art on the walls, the whole atmosphere intimate and beautiful. Minho ordered in rapid Korean, then turned his attention fully to Jasmine. Tell me about you, he said. Not the professional you, the real you. So Jasmine told him about growing up in D.C. with her grandmother, who'd raised her when her mother left, about working her way through community college while cleaning houses to pay for it, about her dreams of maybe opening her own cleaning business someday, being her own boss instead of working for others. You want independence, Minho observed, freedom, to not have to rely on anyone. My whole life, I've had to depend on people who let me down. My mother. Boyfriends who promised things they never delivered. Employers who saw me as replaceable. Jasmine met his eyes. I guess I learned that the only person I can really count on is myself. I understand that. Minho's expression was thoughtful. I grew up learning that trust was dangerous, that showing weakness could get you killed. I built walls so high that no one could climb them. He paused. And then you walked into my house, humming Aretha Franklin and rearranging my books, and I wanted to tear those walls down. Jasmine felt heat rise to her cheeks. I didn't think you noticed me at all. I noticed everything. The way you bite your lip when you're concentrating. The way you always make sure the flowers in my bedroom are fresh, even though I never asked for flowers. The way you leave the curtains in my office open, because you somehow knew I hate waking up to darkness. Minho reached across the table and took her hand. You took care of me without asking for anything in return. That's rare, Jasmine, especially in my world. What is your world really like? Jasmine asked. Not the dangerous parts, just what do you do all day? Minho smiled, slightly. I negotiate. I make deals between people who can't deal with each other directly. I solve problems that most people don't know how to solve. And yes, sometimes those problems involve money moving through channels the government doesn't approve of. But mostly, I'm a translator. Between cultures, between legal and illegal, between East and West. That sounds lonely. It is. Minho's grip on her hand tightened. But maybe it doesn't have to be anymore. The food came then. Incredible Korean dishes Jasmine had never tried before. Bulgogi and kimchi jjigae and japchae, and at least 6 different banchan. Minho explained each one, watched her reactions with obvious pleasure, smiled when she tried something new and liked it. "You've never had Korean food before?" he asked. "Not real Korean food, just takeout." Jasmine took another bite of the bulgogi and practically melted. "This is incredible. My mother's recipe. I gave it to the chef here." Minho was watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. "I wanted you to taste something from my childhood, something real." Jasmine looked at him, really looked at him, saw past the dangerous reputation and the expensive clothes to the man underneath, a man who remembered his mother's recipes, who wanted to share pieces of himself with her. "Thank you," she said softly, "for sharing this with me. Thank you for being brave enough to text me." Minho's thumb stroked across her knuckles. "I think that might have been the best mistake you ever made." "It wasn't a mistake," Jasmine admitted. "I knew what I was doing. I just didn't know if you'd actually come." "I'll always come for you, Jasmine. Remember that." They started carefully after that. Minho would pick Jasmine up after she finished work at the mansion. She'd insisted on continuing to work there, at least for now. He'd drive them to quiet restaurants or to his penthouse in the city, and they'd spend hours talking and learning each other. Jasmine discovered that Minho loved classical music and modern art, that he sent money back to his family in Korea every month, that he was learning to cook because his mother insisted a man should be able to feed himself, that he had a younger brother in Seoul who he talked to every week, and Minho learned about Jasmine's grandmother who'd passed away 2 years ago, about her dream of opening a cleaning business that would employ other women like her, about her love of old soul music and historical fiction, and plants she could never quite keep alive. "You're terrible at keeping plants alive, but you want to start a business?" Minho teased one night, as they sat on his penthouse balcony overlooking the Potomac. "Plants are hard. People I can figure out." Jasmine was curled against his side, his arm around her shoulders, feeling more relaxed than she'd felt in years. "You figured me out," Minho said quietly. "No one's done that before." "What do you mean?" "You see past the reputation, past the money and the danger. You see me." He pressed a kiss to her temple. "That's rarer than you think." 3 weeks into dating, Minho took her to his actual world for the first time. They were having dinner at his penthouse when his phone rang. Minho glanced at it and his expression darkened. "I need to take this," he said. "I'm sorry." He stepped away and answered in Korean, his voice sharp and commanding. Jasmine couldn't understand the words, but she heard the authority in them. This was the other Minho, the dangerous one. When he came back, his expression was tight. "I have to handle something. Business." He ran a hand through his hair. "I'll take you home." "Can I come with you?" Jasmine asked. Minho stared at her. "What?" "You said if we're doing this, I need to understand your world. So let me see it. Not the scary parts, just let me see what you do." Minho studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Okay, but you stay close to me. And if I tell you to leave, you leave immediately. Understood?" "Understood." They drove to a restaurant in Chinatown. Minho led her to a private room in the back, where 3 Korean men were waiting. They stood when Minho entered, bowing deeply, their eyes flicking to Jasmine with obvious curiosity. Minho spoke to them in Korean, his hand never leaving the small of Jasmine's back. The conversation was intense, but not violent. Negotiation. Problem solving. Exactly what he'd described. One of the men said something sharp, gesturing. Minho's response was even sharper, his voice dropping to something cold and dangerous that made all 3 men straighten. Then it was over. The men bowed again and left. "What was that about?" Jasmine asked once they were alone. "A shipment that got delayed. They wanted to blame me. I explained why that was a bad idea. Minho's expression softened as he looked at her. Are you okay? That wasn't too much. That was you solving a problem, just like you said. Jasmine touched his face. Thank you for letting me see it. You're not scared? Of you? No, never of you. Minho kissed her then, deep and possessive, and Jasmine felt something shift between them. This was real. This was them choosing each other, despite everything. 2 months in, Minho told Jasmine he loved her. They were at his mansion, in the kitchen. Minho had insisted on cooking dinner, Korean food that reminded him of home. Jasmine sat on the counter watching him work, marveling at how domestic this felt. I love you, Minho said suddenly, not looking up from the vegetables he was chopping. Jasmine's heart stopped. What? I love you. Now he did look at her, his dark eyes intense. I've been falling in love with you since you started working for me. I just didn't let myself admit it until you sent me that text. He set down the knife and moved to stand between her legs, his hands on her thighs. You changed everything, Jasmine. You made me want something more than just power and money. You made me want a future. Tears burned Jasmine's eyes. I love you too, even though you're dangerous and complicated, and probably a terrible idea. The best things usually are. Minho kissed her softly. Move in with me. What? Not here. I have the penthouse in the city. Move in with me. Let me wake up to you every morning. Let me come home to you. Let me build a life with you. Minho, that's huge. I know. And I'm serious. His hands framed her face. I want forever with you, Jasmine. I want to fall asleep with you every night and wake up to you every morning. I want to come home from difficult meetings and have you there. I want to build something real with you. Jasmine looked into his eyes and saw her future there. Scary, uncertain, but undeniably hers. Okay, she whispered. Yes, I'll move in with you. Minho's smile was devastating. He pulled her off the counter and kissed her deeply, and Jasmine knew she was making the right choice. Moving in together changed everything. Jasmine learned that Minho sang in the shower, badly, that he was grumpy before his first coffee, that he liked to cook breakfast on Sunday mornings while she slept in, that he worked late into the night sometimes, and when he finally came to bed, he'd pull her close and whisper, I love you, in Korean. She also learned what it really meant to be with someone in his world. There were nights he'd come home with tension in his shoulders and wouldn't talk about what happened. Mornings he'd take calls in Korean that ended with him looking grim. Security that followed them everywhere, discreet but always present. But Minho made sure she never felt unsafe, made sure she knew she could leave any time, made sure she understood that his world was his problem, not hers, even though she'd chosen to be part of it. 4 months after moving in, Minho took Jasmine to meet his family. His mother flew in from Seoul, elegant, warm, immediately pulling Jasmine into a hug and speaking in rapid Korean that Minho translated with obvious amusement. She says you're beautiful, and she's happy I finally found someone who makes me smile. His younger brother, Sung-min, visited from New York, charming and friendly, teasing Minho mercilessly about being whipped. He's different with you, Sung-min told Jasmine in English, while Minho was in the kitchen. Happier. Lighter. Our whole lives, Hyung has been so serious, so focused on duty and responsibility. You make him remember how to live. I'm not doing anything special, Jasmine protested. You're loving him. That's everything. That night, after everyone left, Minho found Jasmine on the balcony looking out at the city lights. What are you thinking about? He asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. How much my life has changed. A year ago, I was just your maid, invisible. Now I'm... She stopped. not quite sure how to finish. "Now you're the woman I'm going to marry," Minho said, quietly. Jasmine's breath caught. She turned in his arms to find him holding a small velvet box. Her heart stopped. "I know it's fast," Minho said, opening the box to reveal a stunning diamond ring that caught the light and sparkled like stars. "But I've never been more sure of anything. You're my future, Jasmine, my home, my everything. Marry me. Let me spend the rest of my life proving how much I love you." Jasmine was crying, her hands shaking as she reached for him. "Yes. God, yes." Minho slipped the ring on her finger, with hands that weren't quite steady, then kissed her deeply, thoroughly, like he was sealing a promise. "I'm going to make you so happy," he whispered against her lips. "I promise." "You already do," Jasmine whispered back. "You already do." 1 year later, Jasmine stood in the penthouse bathroom staring at the pregnancy test in her shaking hands. Positive. She and Minho had been married for 6 months, a beautiful ceremony that blended Korean and American traditions with her friends and his family, and more flowers than she'd ever seen in one place. 6 months of learning to be his wife, navigating his world, building their life together. And now, they were going to be parents. "Jasmine," Minho's voice came from the bedroom. "You okay?" She walked out holding the test. Minho took one look at her face, then at the test, and his expression transformed into pure joy. "We're having a baby?" His voice was rough with emotion. "We're having a baby." Minho crossed the room in 2 strides and pulled her into his arms, holding her like she was the most precious thing in the world. When he pulled back, there were tears in his eyes. "I love you," he said. "So much. You've given me everything I never knew I wanted." Jasmine thought about the drunk text she'd sent over a year ago, the terrified maid who'd finally taken a risk, who'd stopped hiding and started living. That text had changed everything. "I love you too," she said, touching her still flat stomach with wonder. "Thank you for coming to get me that night." "Always," Minho said fiercely, his hand covering hers on her stomach. "I'll always come get you, no matter what. Forever." He meant it. And as Jasmine looked at her husband, the dangerous, powerful man who'd seen her when she was invisible, who'd loved her when she felt unlovable, who'd built a life with her that was better than any dream, she knew that sometimes the best love stories started with the worst decisions. Sometimes you had to be drunk enough to be brave. Sometimes you had to text your boss at midnight. Sometimes you had to take the risk. And sometimes, if you were very lucky, he'd show up at your door in 15 minutes and change your entire world. The end. Sometimes the best love stories start with a drunk text. Sometimes the maid gets the prince, or in this case, the Mafia boss. If you loved this story, smash that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me. Would you drunk text your crush? Could you love someone dangerous? Have you ever made a reckless choice that turned out to be the best decision of your life? Thank you for watching, besties, and I'll see you in the next one.